I'm going to, at different times, invite you to give a comment. If you like, feel free to sit. Because I really believe in the social aspect of masterclasses, and so I'd love to hear what you are hearing, what you're observing. Feel free to encourage each other. When we use the word masterclass, oftentimes there's this assumption that there's like a finite amount of knowledge and like I'm transferring something. It's like a transaction. And it is actually very opposite of what I believe in, because I think that in any art, it's an infinite loop. It goes on, and our discovery of the piece and how it sits with each individual pianist is going to be completely different. And so our purpose today is for me to share some tools and some ideas of how you guys are going to pursue your own artistic journeys. I just want to encourage you to share and be strong in your personal visions, because that's where we're going off of. Okay, so with that, I think we're starting with Brady. Do you want to announce your piece?
Well, I'm 15, and I go to Colorado Academy. I've been playing piano since I was 4, and I'll be playing the Polonaise in A-flat major, Op.53 by Chopin.
Audience.
Good, Nice.
Nice. Okay. I want to know how you felt with the piano. Did you feel like it responded? Did you get what you liked out of it?
Yeah, it's a bit quiet, I'd say.
A bit quiet?
For what I'm used to.
Well, there is a lot of great sound you're getting out that way. Yeah. So, yeah, good. Were you able to get the quiet that you wanted?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder, there's a couple things that I think will be really fun for us to try, but I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about the character of that E major section in the middle. What do you want us to experience there?
Well, I feel like it's kind of like supposed to be like a victorious kind of section, so it's like kind of builds up to the very end part with and it like builds up to that part and then it repeats again, and it's like just a kind of victorious section because it is a heroic Polonaise after all.
Heroic and yes, victorious. And what about the right hand? Can you play the melodic line in the right hand? Great. Okay, so tell me, what does the slur mean to you?
Connect the notes.
Do you feel like you were connecting the line the way you wanted to sound?
I feel like I messed up a few times, but yeah.
Okay. No, I'm talking about just the concept of what the legato line would be, the melodic line. So if you just play the top line, without worrying about all the octave stuff, and use a little pedal, how would you like for it to sound? Right? Like it would be not the up and down. So let's add a little pedal and just play around with that. And you don't have to use the fingering for real, but just play with the line that you want us to hear.
Yeah.
So don't play the right, just play the top. Okay, so do you want it to release? Yes. Yes. I'm leading you. I want it to release because that's the high point, and then you go over the top, right? And then you come down, and then you go again. And then this time you jump because there's a rest.
Yeah.
So you differentiate that, right? By the way, this is page 6. If you want to look on with me, we can look at the markings here. So jump, and then he restarts, and then he climbs, and then there's an accent at the very top. So I think that, I really like to simplify things to a place where my body is really comfortable playing around with the concept. So let's do that one line again and do whatever pedaling you would like.
Just the.
Okay, you really want that F sharp to be accented. Do you hear what I'm hearing with the height? But that second one is a jump, right? It goes up. So you're still going into the keys, and I see it as being up. Would you agree? I mean, what do you think of the slur?
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay. So basically, what I'm saying is if we leave out all the rest of the stuff that you have to do, which is a lot here, then we can play with the simplicity of just the one melodic line. And so that's something worth exploring. But I'm hearing the difference in inflection. So I think you're on the same page with me. Yeah. And okay, let's go on to a different spot. Let's go to page 9. There is a lot of meandering in the writing, right? And that can be tough because he really goes on for a long time. He loves this meandering stuff. What do you want us to feel with all this?
It's kind of like, I guess, it's the part of the loss, like kind of lost, but then it kind of will get like kind of like the, like that.
Okay, and what is that? He's no longer lost?
It's kind of a loss, but then like up by like a little sliver of hope, the loss again.
Okay.
It goes up from there.
Okay, so the sliver of hope and the harmonic color, wonderful. So when you do the meandering, I think that when we use larger body parts, we can be a little bit more subtle with our movements. I see you using a lot of up here, but I don't see that your wrist is invited to the party. You know what I mean? Have you guys talked about how your wrist might contribute to the sound you want?
Yeah, a little bit, but.
And do you think that you were using your wrist?
No.
Okay, so is that because you feel like it wasn't doing anything for your sound?
Yeah, I feel like it didn't make a difference.
Okay. Well, do you mind if we revisit that and see maybe there's a reason why it wasn't doing anything? And let's keep the left hand out so we can really hear it. So, are you playing in the keys or are you trying to be super soft for me?
This is what I would normally do.
Okay, all right. So there's a duration to each note, right? Even the fast ones, especially the fast ones. And I think that you can take advantage of the ends of each note more because sometimes I hear there's a beginning and an end to each note, and I kind of would rather it slide into the next.
Yeah.
So if you do you see how much I'm using a ton of wrist, right? Are you looking at my wrist? I know you're doing different fingering, but is that your fingering? You're doing 2 1 2? Yeah. And are you feeling the very end of each note?
Yeah, it's like subtle.
What do you guys think of that? You know what you just did? You just let your ear lead what your hand was going to do. instead of the other way around, which was what I heard, was your hands were playing all the right notes and saying, okay, I gotta do this now. But what you just did was you shifted to letting your ear lead. Now let's do that whole section, but with that sound being really sunk in to the bottom like you were just doing. Not loud, but just really deep. Okay, I'm not sure that it's staying partially because I feel like it's going back to each finger. And even if you're thinking the rest, I think the fingers are taking over again because they're like, we know how to do this. We don't need you. and the thing is that line feels like it's really clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you like photography?
Yeah.
You know how sometimes there's portrait shots where your face is super clear,
Yeah.
and then the background is really blurry?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are times where I think this is a moment where I would like a little more blurriness, and that comes with the wrist, and your wrist right now is quite high. Is that intentional? Do you like it up here?
Yeah, it's intentional because I used to have it like more like this when I was much littler, so this has become a habit now.
Okay, yeah. It's interesting, you know, when we adjust and fix things, I always find it's best to adjust it internally from your sensation rather than from the external view of what the angle is. Because actually all our angles are very different, but what you want to do is go with the sound you're hearing. The sound I'm hearing is that it is kind of being held instead of letting it really sink. So do you feel like there's an elasticity you can get by not holding your wrist at a certain angle and just letting it do whatever it needs to do?
Yeah.
Can you try that? The big leaps are always the hardest one for legato. But did you feel a different sense of the sound?
It's weighted.
It's weighted, and it's not any louder, but the sound is so much creamier.
Yeah.
Right? Did you guys like that?
Yes.
You other two pianists, do you guys have any observations? Pierce and Yako?
Yeah, I think it makes everything sound more even. I just think it sounds more even.
Yeah, I would agree. Like playing into the key definitely kind of warms up the sound a lot more than kind of playing, not like timidly, but like lightly on the keys, you know, versus pressing into it for sure.
Fabulous. Yeah, that was wonderful. I thought that was beautifully done. Okay, let's take a look at the very opening. As our closing, we will look at the opening. This is a really fun opening to play. Indeed. I wonder, there's a lot of these thrusts, right? It's like, I was thinking of this rocket taking off. It's like, shoo, shoo, and it keeps going higher. The pedal is a great way to cheat in terms of building that energy. And I think that you're very honest with your pedaling. Like you don't use it very much. And this score here, I guess, it doesn't have too many places. But I would say it doesn't mean that you can't add pedal, because the way that they played it by ear, right?
Yeah.
And so you add as you go. And whenever you have a crescendo or something rising or thrusting, I want it to feel like your pedal is participating too. So, in the very opening, let's just hear how you get from the first downbeat to the second downbeat.
Just from the very first note.
Yeah. So, okay, could you add a little bit of pedal so that we hear a little bit of direction towards the second downbeat? Okay, did you guys hear a difference?
Yeah.
How about the second one? Actually, you know what? Before we get to the second time, let's just go where you stopped because all that crazy muddy stuff. Try it with pedal, with crescendo. Okay, now this time in tempo, so just go ahead. Oh, but really go into it. Yes! Now the second time. Go ahead. Did you need to play that chord?
It's supposed to be a little bit out, but not too quiet, but not too loud.
No, I love the chord. I just think that you played a different chord in the left hand. Can you just do that for me, and then let's go on. Okay, did you listen to your left hand thumb? Okay, let's take a look at the music. This is a photocopy you gave me, right?
I mean, that's not a photocopy. That's printed from.
Printed, yes, it's all legal. It's all you're okay. What I'm saying is, on the copy that you gave me, it is an F flat. An F flat sounds like this. Yes, and the reason that's important is that's a Neapolitan. Right? It's a different color than that would be a 4-chord, minor 4-chord, which would be a different color. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so the thrusts with the pedal, is that doing it for you? Do you feel
Yeah,
like it
I like
works?
that better.
It's very dramatic, right? Because all of a sudden you just get, maybe when you're saying that you felt like you wanted more sound, maybe that's, do you think that's what you meant? Like the drama?
Yeah, like the
building?
pedaling, like the build up.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so, and throughout the piece, there's just plenty of places. When you have that big scale, do you want to try that with some pedal?
Yeah.
So I think for big scales like that, you want to save a little crescendo for the very end. Yes, okay. Now try to stay to glide on the keys instead of having your fingers be in the air, just go push. Okay, and think about syncing the way you were doing before. Okay, now give me a big at the end. Now can your left hand help out more with the crescendo? So push it in, yeah, in and in. Like that. Yeah, so what's the fingering on the end? So are you using the 4-3-2 and then okay, give me a big accent on that last one. Yes, okay. You'll find it. Burst of energy in the end, then it makes sense when that big 5-chord comes. And the very last thing I'll just say is that take your time when there's a lot of interesting harmonic colors going on. I know it's a really fast action piece. There's so much going on and it's exciting. But for instance, in measure 29, I want to actually know what the chords are, right? So let's look at 29, measure 29. So that, and then. Okay, so what are these chords? Can you tell us what these chords are?
Like what they are?
Yeah.
They're mostly minor chords that they have to put emphasis, especially on the right hand.
Sure. But let's just take the B flat minor. What?
Yeah.
Where is it going? Yeah. What is that?
Well,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. Those are your choices for chords.
3.
So that's your homework. You can email me. Email me when you find out what that chord is doing there. Okay, and it's a very interesting color, and it's taking us somewhere really interesting. But the speed, the tempo at which you were playing it, there was no time for us to be like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? Even though it's just a B minor chord, it's a very special function. Okay, with that, thank you so much for playing.